There are three scenarios when you introduce opioids into a situation where the caregiver is affected. Number one is, and when even under a doctor's care, I'm not talking about illicit drug use, okay? That's not my area, okay? I'm just talking about people who are in chronic pain taking this. And number one is when the doctor overshoots and the patient is heavily medicated. That is an area that causes great stress to a caregiver.
Oh, yeah.
The other one is when the doctor undershoots and the patient is undermedicated and in a lot more intractable pain. That is an area that causes great stress to a caregiver. And the third scenario is when the doctor gets it right, because you're still introducing a behavior-modifying drug into a human being over a long period of time, and that affects the caregiver.
And incredibly addictive.
Yes, and as a friend of mine said in medical school, he had a professor said, "You show me a drug with no side effect, and I'll show you a drug with no effect." And I think that we have to, and I'm not talking about something that just goes on for 3 to 4, 5, 6 weeks. Everybody's got a story about 3 to 4 to 5, 6 weeks of something with a broken leg or a surgery or whatever. I'm talking about years, and in our case, decades. That's when you're in a much different league at this point. And so, again, nobody, and Bob said this, he said, "Peter, nobody's talking about this from a caregiver standpoint except you." And I said, well,
that's kind of your job. So
I'm the guy with the radio show. I guess I'll talk about it. So I'm pretty serious about it. And I know that this is an issue that's affecting a lot of you. And some of you listening right now, maybe not dealing with this directly, but you know somebody who is. And the question was asked to me, and I don't want to give away the interview. Of course, there was not any surprise. I mean, it wasn't like a Geraldo interview where, there's a big surprise at the end. But the question was, with the governor spending all this money here in Tennessee about this issue, what would you see any of that money go to caregivers? And I said, I don't know that it requires a lot of money to go to caregivers. I think you could just, every time you say the word opioid, just say, hey, caregivers, if this is in your life, if you're dealing with somebody like this, then get some help for yourself. It's okay for you to seek help. And I think that's the permission that a lot of caregivers don't even know that is important to them, that this will affect them. So anyway, that's part of the thing. Chris Latham and the band are firing up. We've got to go to a break. We'll be right back. As caregivers, we spend an extraordinary amount of time dealing with the healthcare needs of someone we love. But who thinks about ours? Does your healthcare company communicate how important you are, not just as a member, but as an individual? Well, mine does. I discovered MediShare, a vastly different kind of healthcare company. They offer so many services that I was able to consolidate, and so far I'm saving about $300 a month. But there's even more. MediShare is helping me improve my health, and when I reach the target goals, they're going to reward me with even more savings each month. I called them the other day about an item, and the representative noticed my cough and sneezes and asked if she could take a moment just to pray with me. Does your healthcare company do that? Do they really care about you as an individual, as a caregiver? Mine does. Call 855-25-SHARE and discover how spectacular these people are and how committed they are to you. At MediShare, you're not just a member. You're part of a community who wants to care for you. Call them now, 855-25-SHARE. The call is free. The care is priceless.